It is March, water temps are warming up. We're gonna break down 4 different bodies of water that have been on the last couple of weeks in this week's Texas Weekly Update. Can't wait to tell you about it. Let's go.
It's not a 3, monster of a fish. It's a good fish right there.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jeremy with Fishing Lone Star, and if you're new or somewhat new to the channel, there's only 3 things I try to focus on, and it is fishing tips and tricks just in general, a lot of tackle and gear reviews, and also Texas Weekly updates. Some of those will come in the form of a video like this. Some will come actually on the water videos and clips, a little bit of mix of both. But this particular week, I'm giving you a couple of days that I've been on the water, March 6th, March 7th, and March 14th. But 4 different bodies of water, anywhere from big lakes, small lakes, even smaller lakes to a pond, to kind of give you an idea of water temps, what fish are doing, and how they're moving in the month of March here in Texas as we get ready for spawn, maybe a little bit of pre-spawn still, but coming up into the spawn. So first, let's talk about March 6th. Was a full day that I spent out on Lake Athens. All right, Lake Athens is, if you're not familiar, is in kind of a East Texas area, south of, if you're familiar with like kind of the Lake Fork area, south of Lake Fork around Athens, Texas. But Lake Athens, went out there with my brother. We spent a good majority of that day on Saturday, March 6th, and we only caught 2 fish, but we kind of learned some things in the process. So first of all, we learned that the main lake temps were 54 degrees. Still a little cool. We got back into some pockets on the east side of the lake, and it was actually 52. We swung back around later in the day to the west side of the lake and a little bit of a creek channel, and the temps were 61. So we went from 54 to the east side 52 to the west side 61, and a pretty big lake at Lake Athens. So it kind of told us that that west side of the lake and the northwest side of the lake in general is warming up even faster than even the northeast side of the lake. So keep that in mind, because that'll be a common theme as we talk about water temps here across these couple of bodies of water. So on Lake Athens, caught 1 fish that particular day. It was in about 6 to 8 feet of water, and what I would consider a staging area for spawning bass. It's about a 3-pounder. I'll show you the clip of the video as I'm talking about the fish, but what I caught that on was the Bill Lewis rattle trap. I forget this particular color. I'll look it up though. But it's kind of a black on top, a little bit of a chrome shad with a yellow stripe, kind of almost like a sexy shad color, but with a black instead of blue. But was basically just yo-yoing that around some grass. So we found some grass, which in Lake Athens, it's not hard to find grass, but we found some grass on kind of a secondary point that was about to swing into a creek channel, and that bass was there staging and hit that lipless, and was a pretty good fish, healthy fish. What I was using to catch that on was, I've actually done a whole video on this, but that Lew's KVD reel. I'm using this reel as kind of my cranking setup for lipless cranks and medium diving cranks, and I'm throwing that on the TFO tactical glass bass rod. It's a 7.4 rod. I'll link it below. You can go to shills.com, you can go to your local Shills store, or you can go directly to TFO to pick up this rod. But it is a fiberglass rod. It's actually a 60-40 split. So 40% of it is fiberglass, gives it a good parabolic bend, and when you're throwing those lipless cranks, you see how much bend there is in the tip. When you're throwing those lipless cranks, it really helps keep the fish pinned. And in fact, you probably saw in that clip, I actually boat flipped that fish that most people aren't gonna do on a lipless crank or crankbait in general, but I have full confidence that this rod is gonna keep that fish pinned, not only in the hookup, all the way to the boat, and even in the boat. So I absolutely love this rod. I've got 2 of them now, and the reel did well too. But that's that Bill Lewis rattle trap. I've caught several fish now, from smaller bodies to big lakes. I really like that color. It gives off a great shad imitation. Now, I mentioned 2 fish were caught that day. My brother caught another one using a similar lipless. I think it was by Rapala. It's not a kind of a flatter side lipless, if you will. It's more of a rounded lipless crank, but he caught that around some lily pad stems, more out towards the main lake, but on a hump that had some lily pads, stems, not pads, but stems. and we found actually several fish in there. We could only get that one to bite. We missed probably 2 others, but we checked up shallow. We could not find any fish really on beds yet. It seemed like they were still in that pre-staging mode on March 6th. Now, I told you that weekend I was going to Lake Fork, and on March 7th, that Sunday, I did go to Lake Fork for about 5 hours. So from about 7 a.m. to about noon, and came up empty. Water temps were actually a little colder than what we saw in Lake Athens. I ran up into a northwest pocket, actually a northeast pocket on Lake Fork, and then went to the east side of it. And remember, I told you the northwest side is what was warming up faster. I made the mistake of going to the northeast part of the lake and a northeast pocket inside of that part of the lake, and actually found colder temps. I mean, we got down in the upper 40s in that one little pocket, so that was not the right move. I went back over to the west side. There was some activity there, but no fish were biting. And quite honestly, there was a big tournament on March 6th on Lake Fork with, I believe, close to 250 boats. And someone said, I've not checked this fact, but over 200 of them zeroed. And if I'd have been there, I would have zeroed too, because I was there the next day and zeroed. So main lake temps were around 52, 53 on Lake Fork that weekend. Back in some of the pockets, it warmed up to like 56, 57. Some people have said they found that particular weekend roughly 59 to 60 degree temps. That week, which was 2 weeks ago, just wasn't quite warm enough yet, I believe, to have all the bass move up shallow. So wishful thinking on my part, but they weren't there yet. All right, sticking on March 7th, to make myself feel better, I then went to a 2-acre pond that evening, and this was the fun part. All right, so a 2-acre pond. Actually caught fish, 2 fish. I caught multiple fish, but 2 fish on a frog, top water on a frog. It was later in the evening, around 4:35. This is before daylight savings. So around 4:35, sun was coming down, and fish were kind of having some activity on the top, around the top of the water. Pitched in a frog. Actually, it was in my rod locker. I hadn't even brought it out for the whole year, and caught 2 fish. It was pretty darn awesome. I was using that Blitz Lures popper frog. I've shown you guys this frog many times, but I firmly believe in it that much. You can see the hooks come out very easily. This is very soft plastic. There's a great kill design to this frog, so it walks incredibly well. I'm throwing that on 50-pound braid with a Lose Super Duty reel, 8.3 going gear ratio, so it's super fast. Just because top water, I don't need it to be slow. I want it to be fast. And I'm throwing this on the 7.4 Tactical Elite rod by TFO, and it's the extra heavy. Now, that being said, yes, it's an extra heavy rod. Like you can see, I'm holding it here, and there's really not much bend, but watch when I get here. Look how much tip there is in this extra heavy rod. What that allows for is when a fish jumps, this rod's gonna help play that fish to keep them pinned. What also helps with is I can make incredibly accurate casts with this rod. Most people say that the Tactical Elite rods, you don't necessarily need the sensitivity for frog fishing, and I would say you're correct. You don't need the sensitivity. What I find that is extremely helpful though is this tip for accurate cast. I can make extremely accurate casts with this rod, but still put the hammer down with those big heavy gauge hooks. And I don't miss much with this frog. Not because of me, but because of the frog. So caught 2 fish on a smaller body of water. What I believe is happening on the smaller bodies of water is they're warming up faster. That's kind of common sense. Just like in your creek channels and your lakes, they're warming up faster as well, which is drawing the bass in to spawn. So right now, look for smaller bodies of water and look for those smaller areas on a main lake where you have creek channels on the northwest side that are warming up faster. Sorry, it'd be this way, northwest for you, northwest side, all right? Now, I'll fast forward one more time to March 14th. Myself and Justice from Red Day Outdoors went out to a private water fishing spot and had a great day. I'm gonna save the details of that for the next video to follow this because I have a whole video on it. And I'm introducing a brand new boat. It's right over here in my garage, but a brand new boat that I'm fishing out of as well when I'm not taking out the bigger boat. So stay tuned for that video. It's gonna be awesome. If you have not yet, go back and watch the 2 videos prior on Lake Okeechobee because we had a great time at the very end of February with myself, my wife, and Chad Van Slyke, who is our guide. Had 2 days, so make sure you watch those 2 videos on Lake Okeechobee. We had a great time. So this video is brought to you by Texas Shills Outdoors. I should have mentioned that in the beginning. I think it's obvious though by the intro and what you're about to see in the outro. Make sure you check out Shills for all your fishing needs. Not only do they have great stuff, but they're just great people to work with. They have a great organization, great store. If you've not yet visited one in Dallas, it is the largest sporting goods store in the country, if not the world, at 331,000 square feet. The place is just amazing. It's literally like a theme park for sports enthusiasts. So go check it out. Visit them online. Make sure you check out Texas Shills Outdoors, their Instagram page. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, please subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one where myself and Justice catch some pretty good fish out on a private water fishing lake. This next weekend as well, I'll be on a 30-acre lake with a lot of timber. We're gonna see if we can get into some spawning fish there, so stay tuned for that as well. And if nobody told you today, God loves you, and so do I. Peace out.